Hello and welcome to the first video that I am putting out since I have rebranded my channel. So this is no longer my ADHD lifestyle, this is now just my name, it's just Galaxie. So hi, I'm Jess, I'm the person who makes videos on this channel, and today we are doing a full makeover of my office, which was a lot. So I am going to do some while sitting here and talking to the camera. I'm going to try and keep this kind of tight, so sorry if it's framed a little awkwardly, but I just don't, I'm recording in my office, so I don't want you guys to see the results before I get there. But I'm very, very excited about everything I managed to do in here. I did a lot to make it better for me as someone who has ADHD. In addition to that, I, in general, just needed to really clean it. That was one of the biggest motivations, was that my office needed to be cleaned. You can also follow me on all of these different places if you are interested in doing that. And with that, let's get into this office makeover. Okay, so I actually probably should have sat down and talked to the camera a little bit on day one, but I kind of just really wanted to clean. So I spent the first day mostly cleaning, just trying to clear things out so I could figure out what I actually wanted to do in here. So some of what I was doing was organizing things, just kind of getting them into boxes. I got the boxes that I'm tending to put things in from IKEA, and the reason I did that was because I had originally gone to IKEA to buy bookshelves, and then IKEA is very out of bookshelves right now for some reason, and I'll talk about that more later, but also, I'm just going to apologize for some of the framing in this. My office is not very large. My house is only as big as it is. So when it comes down to it, I really just tried my best to show you guys as much of what I was doing as possible. And I tried to cut out the bits where you really couldn't see what I was doing, or you couldn't really tell what I was doing. That happens sometimes as well. So I just, bear with me a little bit. A lot of things were done in this first day that were just kind of setting up what I needed to do. Admittedly, at one point, I moved the desk that was against one of my walls, so I could put the bookshelves there, into the middle of the room, and then it admittedly stayed there for basically the rest of the time I was working on this project, which was not easy to deal with, I will be honest. I really should have gotten it out of the office at some point and I didn't, but that's on me. Also, one thing I do show myself doing at one point is I'm taking the prints that are on my wall off, and when I do that, I put them up with painter's tape, and I've been doing this for a while, and instead of trying to peel the painter's tape away from the print, I will just cut the painter's tape loop and then flatten it on the back of the print. This just prevents me damaging my prints as I'm trying to take them off my walls. A lot of these prints have moved several times with me, and they're still in fairly good condition, and this is one of the major reasons I think they are. After I kind of cleaned out the major mess in this room, I started kind of going through project by project And the first project I wanted to work on was making this glass display cabinet I have more of a true display cabinet and less of a storage cabinet, which is part of the reason I bought some of the storage items and things that you'll see throughout the video, because I really wanted this to be more of a place where I could put my anime figures and a lot of the other things that I've just collected over the years, like stuffed animals. Big part of the reason too that I did this was because I had these LED strip lights that I was originally going to put behind my TV in my living room, and I realized that to do so I would have to cut them and I would have to waste a good amount of the LED strip that I had. It wasn't like I was just cutting off like 3 or 6 inches, it was like a lot, like a couple feet. So I decided to do this with it instead, which allowed me to really make this like a display cabinet. So now the lights turn on, I can change the colors on them, they're all controlled from my phone, which is super fun. And I've always kind of wanted something like this. I've never been one to enjoy the like LED lights in like the seams of the like the corners of the room and the wall, like where the wall meets the ceiling and then the corners. So I thought this was like a way that I could kind of have that LED strip light without having that. Did consider putting up some like crown molding and putting LED strip lights on that. I discovered really quickly that that would have been very expensive, so I decided not to do it. Also, I have to admit, I put the LED strip lights into this cabinet in kind of an incorrect way. At one point I had to flip over one of the shelves because it has a notch in it for lights to run through it. It's meant to have LED lights put into it. However, I realized that I had both of the notches on the same side when I actually needed to have them on opposite sides so I could run the LEDs in like an S pattern through the shelves, so I struggled quite a bit. Also, after I first finished the lights before I started putting everything away, I went and spent 20 minutes petting my rabbit rather than being a person, so that's about as frustrating as putting those lights in was. Once I had the lights all set up in there and they were working, I started just kind of dusting off my anime figures and putting them in there. A lot of these were kind of dispersed through various areas in the office and a couple in a few other places throughout the house, so I wanted to kind of bring them all into one location. That way I know where they all are and they get dusty a little less fast since they're in the display cabinet now, which is, my house is very dusty. I have like the worst air filter in my HVAC I think I've ever experienced in my entire life. It's like half an inch thick and it lasts like a month, and I never remember to change it on time. Anyway, besides all of that, I kind of just started putting things back. I am showing off some of the things that I put back because I thought it was more visually interesting than me just like walking back and forth between the table and the display cabinet. Some of my pride and joys in this collection are all of the little Kirby figures I have. I got them from a Bon Presto box a while back. Either way, my figure collection is pretty expensive at this point, and I, just kind of wanted to have a nice safe spot for it. I even have a couple of figures in storage still. They're both Nendos. They're just for like properties that I don't really like care as much about anymore. But I've still got those too, so I'm thinking about putting them in there as well. I just haven't gotten around to it. At some point I remembered after I started putting the figures and everything back in there that I should have Windexed the glass on this display case because it needed it. So I did that. really hoping that the mic works. I'm not gonna say too much. I just wanted to stop for like half a second and actually talk to the camera. Look at this cool thing my wireless mic does though. I can make it like a little... Anyway, I completely forgot to film basically everything I did yesterday, but I didn't do all that much because I had a couple friends come over and help me carry up the bookcases from my car, and then I bought them lunch and we kind of like hung out more than I did anything. However, if you look behind me, I wallpapered the backing for the bookshelves, so that is something that I did do yesterday that I completely forgot to film. But I'm gonna build the bookshelves now, and that's where I'm at today. So let's go. Okay, so the next project I took on was the bookshelf project, which was a really, really big project because one of the #1 reasons I was doing this was to have more bookshelves in this room, because I had a lot of books that were just all over the place and really needed a home. And then on top of that, I want more books because I kind of want to expand my collection. And so I just really needed a lot of space with a lot of room to grow. So this is where the IKEA situation comes in. I don't know how many of you guys might know about this, but IKEA is having some like serious supply chain problems and was having even more intense supply chain problems when I was doing this. So I actually went to IKEA one day fully with the intention of buying 3 of the Billy bookcases, like the big Billy bookcases. And when I got there, the only ones I could get were the weird fake wood ones, and I really don't like the IKEA fake wood, and I could only get one of them, and even then I could only get the thin ones, like the more narrow ones, rather than the ones that were like 30 inches wide. So I kind of, after a lot of thinking in the store and wandering around and wondering if I could just use Galaxie shelves instead, or if I could maybe buy one of their other bookshelves, I realized that they also didn't have any of the other bookshelves in stock, and I decided that that was it and that I was just gonna let it go, and that wasn't gonna be the route I went. So that resulted in me impulse buying the bookshelves that I now have in Target one day. I was just kind of there looking around and I was like, oh, these bookshelves aren't bad. And they're only $30. So I kind of decided that it was worth it, which is how I wound up grabbing the bookshelves that I ultimately have. I decided to do the 2 large bookshelves and then the 1 smaller one because I realized that I was going to be covering an outlet and I wanted to solve for that. So how I actually did solve for that was, since one of the big bookcases is in front of the outlet, I just got an extension cord that is like set up to be like a little power bank with some like USB places, USB slots, USB ports. Anyway, so it has a couple places where I could plug in a USB to charge things, and then it also has a couple outlets on it, so that way I didn't like lose that outlet. So the actual process of putting the bookshelves up was like a lot, and it started out with me putting wallpaper on the backing. I talked about this in my my little thing where I explained that I had forgotten to film myself doing it. But the wallpaper I actually got, it was from spoonflower.com, and I think it was called like Harvest Rabbit or Harvest Moon. But I absolutely love how this turned out. I was like very skeptical throughout the process. I was like, ooh, this is looking a little weird. I don't know about this. And then I actually got it on and nailed backing into the bookshelves, and I was like, oh, this is great. The other thing about these shelves that I do want to talk about really quick is I did fasten them to my wall. I have a rabbit who is only 3 pounds, so if he ever got in here for some reason, I wanted to be sure that those shelves would not fall on him. That was like one of my biggest things and the biggest reason that I did that. Admittedly, also they were a little shaky without being fastened to the wall in a way that I was a little bit uncomfortable with. So that's something to note about these shelves as well. Yeah, they were only $30. If it really comes down to it, and I decide that I want those Billy bookcases, I could go and replace them with the Billy bookcases, and I'm not gonna be too upset about it. So there were 2 drawbacks to the bookshelves. First is that the side is not all one piece, it's 2 smaller pieces, and then the shelf in the middle is kind of what helps hold it together. And the shelf in the middle, that means it can't move, which kind of sucks, not the worst thing in the world. I was willing to deal with that. The other thing with this is, and part of the reason I really originally wanted the Billy bookcases, is that you can buy the Billy bookshelves themselves by themselves. So you can buy those from IKEA directly to add shelves to your bookshelves if you decide you need more, or you want to rearrange things in a certain way, whatever the reason. However, you can't do that with these Target shelves. So I was a little sad about that, but I think I'm gonna be okay with it, mostly because I noticed that these Target shelves tend to end up being on Facebook Marketplace. I kind of decided that if I have to buy a $10 shelf from Facebook Marketplace and just poach the shelves out of it, that's not the worst thing in the world. In addition to that, if I really needed to, I could technically just buy the $30 shelf unit and poach the shelves out of that. That seems a little ridiculous though. Something about that seems a little too far, but I have seen a lot of these on Chicago's like Facebook Marketplace, so I felt like I was going to be able to pick them up somewhere if I needed to. Once the shelves were up, I did some incredibly accurate measurements to figure out how I wanted to put the shelves into the unit. I stressed about this a lot, and I wound up moving a couple of shelves as I went. Obviously, I was using books as well to kind of measure how tall the shelves needed to be so that I could fit what I needed to fit on there. And then from there, I just kind of started placing things and piecing together what I wanted to do with it. I will admit I have changed the bookshelves around a little bit. Hello! So at one point in this video I mentioned that it's Memorial Day. It is now the 4th of July and I'm recording this part of the video. So that's, now you know my secrets. This took me a really long time to do, mostly because I was doing it on the weekends and I do work a 40-hour work week, so it was not something I could necessarily do all at once. The point is that I set up the bookshelves to kind of be displays as much as they were a place to store books for now, and then obviously as I get more books, I will undo the way that I have displayed some of the books, which will allow me a little bit more space, but makes the shelves look filled out for right now. And then here's a shot of me where I was trying to talk to the camera, but for some reason the sound didn't work, but I thought my hair was cute, so I left it in. Anyway, after the bookshelves were up, my next order of business was kind of dealing with my whole entire desk area. There were kind of 2 to 3 parts of this whole thing. So first were these 2 cube shelves that were on either side of my desk, and for these I really just kind of needed to clear them out, figure out what I was keeping, what I was getting rid of, and reorganize them so I could fit certain things into them. Most notably, I wound up putting my toolbox in one of these because where it had been stored before, because of where I put Shiro's pen, I could no longer get into it regularly or easily, and I need to get to my tools on a fairly regular basis, and I was like, this isn't working anymore, so they had to go somewhere in here, so I found a home for them, basically. Also, Pinnacle of Grace, so good, so wonderful, stepping over that entire cube shelf, look at me go. I'm surprised I was able to do that. Again, you know, just kind of going through and dusting things as well. You see me do a lot of dusting throughout this, and I think I hold up my little sock hand quite a bit. And a big part of that is, like I said, my house just gets really dusty. I feel like I'm dusting all the time. But this was a good opportunity for me to go through and do a deep clean where I was like really dusting everything in here because it needed it. Yeah, so the first cube shelf obviously is like, it's got a printer on it, but the second one that I kind of went through and I made it like a little area where I could set things down that didn't need to be on my desk all the time, but I often needed when I was at my desk. So accessories for my computer, USB adapters, things like that. I put a bunch of my fidget toys over there because I really needed to get them off my desk. I just had like a pile of them. Also, this little dish that I show is actually something that I got in Kyoto, Japan when I was there a few years ago, and I didn't really have a good place for it otherwise, so I put it on here so that I could kind of store some small things. Like I said, my USB adapters, the little key puller for my keyboard and things like that so that I didn't like lose track of them. It's kind of nice to always have like, you know, like ring dishes and things like that where you can kind of put things out in the open and you can visually see them, especially when you have ADHD. Sometimes that's just like a thing you need to do. Okay, so this is probably the second longest section of this video. I cut a lot of it out, I will be honest, so that you guys didn't have to watch me struggle so much. But the next thing I was doing, I had bought myself a new monitor for my desk and I was keeping the old one, so I bought a set of monitor arms and they were so hard to assemble, let me tell you. Before I could do anything with that though, I had to clear my desk off and clean it. That's a lot of what I'm doing in the first part of this section, just kind of dusting, getting things out of the way, getting my monitor out of the way, getting my little laptop stand out of the way, so that I could just start fresh with putting the monitor arms up, because that was going to make my life a little easier for the monitor arms. I've installed monitor arms like this before. When I was working at my last job, it was a startup, so like my desk wasn't set up when I got there, and so I had to like install my own monitor arms and put the monitors up and things like that, which I cannot believe they let me do because I almost dropped the monitors like 4 times. That's a different conversation though. When I was doing this though, these monitor arms, significantly harder to set up. They were in more pieces and sent in a smaller package, and I think that is a big part of the reason why. Also, this really came down to how they packaged it to ship it to me, because otherwise these monitor arms are really great, but the plates that you actually use to attach the monitors to, they're tilted because they needed to fit into the box, but because they're tilted, you need to set up the monitor arms, untilt them, take them down so that you could attach it to the monitor and then put it back up, which is not the best design. Anyway, the point is I was really confused for a long time, but I got it done. That's what's important here. Look at me. Who needs men when you have one non-binary person who thinks they're handier than they are? Anyway, so after much turmoil and strife, I eventually got the monitor arms and the monitors fully installed, and I started just kind of adjusting them so that they would work for me and where I was sitting. Again, some more super accurate measurements so that I could see where my laptop stand would fit on the desk and if it would fit, because this monitor that I got is a lot bigger than the monitor I had previously. In all honesty, I probably should have put the monitor arms slightly further to the left, but Anyway, once I had the monitors all set up, I could kind of plug everything back in, put my webcam back up, so on and so forth. Just kind of set my desk back up from there. My desk honestly didn't change that much when it really comes down to it. I just kind of like put the monitor arms up. Anyway, remember that desk I mentioned that I said was in the middle of the room for the majority of this process, and I probably should have taken it out way sooner? This is the point at which I took it out. Anyway, it was really quick and easy. One of my friends is actually taking the desk. As much as I'm complaining about the desk, I actually have like a lot of sentimental attachment to this desk, to the point where I didn't want to just throw it out, so I gave it to one of my friends. The next thing I did was I had this plan from the very beginning to put up a moon shape on the wall using the leftover wallpaper I had that was on the back of the bookshelves. And I did it, and I got it up there, and I really wasn't sure about it. So after like a small amount of deliberation, I took it down. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get a piece of art to go there. I haven't quite figured that out yet. It's still empty as of July 2nd, I will admit. I'm eventually gonna get something to go up there, but this just, for some reason, this wasn't it. This was not it. This moon was not it. So, also, for clarification, I was not wearing that makeup because of this video. I was not wearing the makeup to film this. I was filming something else, and then I decided I wanted to work on this. So, I did not put on makeup to clean, don't worry. Anyway, this was kind of the last project that I really did. I went slightly out of order on this, and you'll see what I mean when I get to it. I cleaned up the area that the desk was in, and I had actually bought this rug that I really, really like to put in here, both because it echoes in here for some reason, which is weird because it's not a very large room, but also I just kind of wanted like a little rug to go underneath my filming space because I thought it would make it look nice. Anyway, I bought a rug pad that was too big, so the majority of what you're seeing me do here while I'm trying to put this rug down is cut the rug pad. That hurt. Cutting the rug pad hurt a lot. I was surprised. There's a reason the moment after I finished, I fell over, and then I start massaging my arm, because that's just what that was like. Hello. I am sunburned, so sunburned, but I really want to finish this project. It is Memorial Day, and I started this project, I think, in early April. Anyway, so I have lowered my expectations slightly since starting this. I think the biggest things that I don't think I can do is go through my closet in here and deal with the baker's rack, which I have decided is going to leave, but for right now is acting as a vague ADHD doom box, meaning that there's a bunch of stuff on it that I just don't know what else to do with for the moment. So, that being said, today I am going to do all of the cord management for my desk area, and then once said cord management is done, I am going to call this project finished, because I have done so much. I am so sick of working on it, and I would like to do something else for a little bit. That's where I'm at. So I have a cable tray that has been sitting in my house for like 5 months, because I bought it before I even started this project, really, that goes under this desk. It's built to go with this desk. I'm going to do all this cord management in hopes that it just makes my life slightly easier, because I frequently kick this cord when I'm working and it worries me. However, to do this, I am probably going to have to shut down my entire system, including my Wi-Fi. So this is going to be a fun time, and that's why I have been completely putting this off for like a week and a half. On that note, I am hopefully going to put you guys in a position where you can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to get started. Also, I've decided I like this mic better like this than as a lavalier mic. I don't have to think about my hair this way. Look how it's like just like the little, anyway. Okay, so I've already kind of introduced the cord management project at this point, so I'm just gonna give you guys like a quick rundown of really what I was doing. Installing this little like shelf that goes under the desk, way harder than it needed to be. Honestly, first of all, this thing cost me $25. I do not know why the company does not just include it with the desks. It was not that expensive, and honestly, I really wish I had had it when I first got the desk, because I would have installed it when I had the desk flat on the ground and I was installing the legs, rather than having to like sit underneath it and like hold it up to install it. I don't know why. I don't know why. So just a quick update, apparently they expected me to keep the Allen wrench from when I got this desk to put in the cable tray, without telling me that that was their intention. So I did not keep the Allen wrench, and I purchased this desk about 6 months to a year before I purchased this cable tray. Also, I think they sent me the wrong color, so that's where I'm at. Anyway, I eventually got the cord tray installed, and then I started kind of figuring out how I was going to put the cords into there. So it has occurred to me that the cord on my power strip is not long enough to get all the way into the cable tray, so I need to run to Target and buy a different one. I'll be back. Okay, once I was back from Target with the new power strip, I plugged that in really quick, put it into the cable tray, and just started kind of organizing the cords. I decided against putting these all in bunny proofing tubing, mostly because I've decided that this is never going to be a room that my rabbit is allowed in. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so these curtains that I'm putting up actually came out of my living room. I got new curtains for in there, and so I decided to just like plop these in here. I don't really know how I feel about them since they're like kind of like light blue, and I don't think they go with the vibe, but I kind of wanted curtains because like the window on the right side of my desk looks directly into my neighbor's master bedroom, and you can see why I maybe wanted curtains. So for setting up my filming area, I knew kind of exactly what I wanted. I really wanted to have a rug because I thought it would be cute, and then I knew I wanted a nice chair that was kind of in a similar vibe to the rest of the room. And then on top of that, I really wanted a little table that I could set my mic on, which is ironically, like I moved that table over here in front of me for this because you guys could not see this portion just yet. But the filming area was the last thing I did, and here we are. You know, it's really weird that it's done. Now that it took me so long to do. So anyway, this is like now my dedicated filming space that I was really excited to have. I have not quite exactly figured out how to set up the camera versus how I'm going to be. I feel like currently I have it really wide, so I should fix that. Let me do that real quick. Hello. We're just gonna... This is the final product. This is like the filming area that I really wanted to have set up. I'm still like kind of tweaking exactly like where this chair is going to be versus where this little table is going to be versus like where I'm going to put the camera. But I really like having a space that feels like it's dedicated for me to just sit down and make videos. That was what was most important to me. So honestly, for me, I think this has just been really important because it's been a whole mindset thing for me. This is now kind of a workspace for me. If you don't know, I recently got a job that's permanently fully remote. So having this office was really important to me, both for YouTube and for my actual day job, especially considering how often I would find myself distracted by things or getting stressed about the clutter that was around me when I was working previously in here before I kind of redid everything. And, you know, like my first couple of weeks, it was still kind of a mess while I was working. And honestly, it just feels so much better. It's been really rewarding, and I had a lot of fun doing this. I know it wasn't really what I normally do, but I feel like a lot of people really love makeover content. So hopefully it's not too out of pocket. So yeah, like I said, I have changed a couple of things since finishing the actual like filming for this video. The biggest things were that I've like moved things around on the bookshelves, honestly. The reason I've done it mostly is because like I got nice little stands to put like some of my display books, as you can see over here. That might not always stay like that because I might eventually need that shelf space, but I think it looks really good right now, and I've kind of tweaked things as I've been actually using this as my office. This is actually the first time I'm filming in this spot though, because I was like, I can't really film anything in there until I know that I'm putting the office makeover video out, before the video that I filmed there is going out. So I've not had the chance to really use this for the actual intended purpose of it, but that's fine. Anyway, I think with that, I hope that this was a fun video for you guys. It was really fun for me to make and for me to do, and I worked really, really hard on it. So I'm really, really proud of myself, honestly, and I'm really excited to finish editing this whole thing. In addition to that, I'm really excited about a lot of things that are going on with the channel, about some of the things that are going on in my life right now. I'm really excited about a lot of things that are happening relating to my TikTok and D&D and the Twitch live stream. So it's been nice just kind of having an opportunity to kind of look back at YouTube as like the first place where I really started making content and really got the confidence to start making content like this, especially video content. It's so insane to me that people actually like want to listen to what I have to say, which I feel like a lot of content creators say that, but I've always struggled with imposter syndrome, both in my hobbies and my career. And so it feels like really, really nice to just kind of do a video that was really intended to be something for me. I'm excited to start doing more content that's pushing what I used to do content-wise. Honestly, this video, I will fully admit, was heavily inspired by Rachel Makesie's makeover videos, and I was like, man, I kind of want to try my hand at one of those. So I decided to do it, and I think it turned out really well, and that's just like the most exciting part about all of this. I guess with that, all I have to say now is thank you for watching, and I hope you're interested in where my content goes from here. Here are other places that you can follow me if you are interested in doing that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Yeah, I guess with that, oh man, I no longer have a sign off because I changed my channel name. Oh, this is weird. Man, I'm just gonna have to like clip every time I just thumbs up the camera in this video. Put it at the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. It's so weird that I don't remember a sign up. Oh, okay. Anyway, with that, I think I'm finally gonna go. I have been trying to sign off for like 5 minutes. Dear Lord.